Solving equations with variables on both sides. When you have variables on both sides of the equal sign, you'll want to move all the terms with the variable to one side and all the constants to the other side. Remember that when we're doing this to solve the equation, we have to keep our equation balanced at all times by applying the concept of opposite operations. Let's go through some examples. We're going to solve each question and we're going to verify each answer. Example number 1, 3x minus 5 equals 2x minus 6. So now you'll notice that you have a term with an x on the left-hand side of the equal sign and on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So what we want to do is we want to move all of the terms that have the x to one side and all of our constants, so our negative 5 and our negative 6, to the other side. And it doesn't matter if you move the terms with the variables on the right-hand side or on the left-hand side. But for our purposes, let's move them to the left-hand side. So in order to do that, you can start by looking at your 2x. So sometimes when our terms are the second one, we already know that we are adding or subtracting because of the sign that's in front of that term. If you have no sign in front, it's like you're adding that 2x because it's a positive 2x. So when I bring it across the equal sign, so when I move this 2x over to this side, I have to do the opposite operation. So the opposite of adding a number is subtracting a number. So now I'm going to write my next line as 3x, take away 2x. I still have my minus 5. Is equal to 2x, take away 2x, because whatever I do to one side, I do to the other, take away my 6. So you'll notice when I wrote my 2x in here, my subtract 2x, I put it with my x term already, because I want to keep my like terms together. That makes solving it a little bit more efficient. So 2x minus 2x is 0, so it's eliminated from the right-hand side. So let's simplify our x terms on this side, on the left-hand side. So 3x take away 2x gives me 1x. And I can either write the 1x or I can just write an x. So I have x minus 5 on the left-hand side equals minus 6. So now I want to look at my constant of negative 5. So right now I am subtracting it from my x, so that when I bring it over to the other side, I'm going to have to add. So I'm going to do an x minus 5 plus 5 on the left side and minus 6 plus 5 on the right-hand side. So minus 5 plus 5 is 0, so that's gone from the left-hand side. So I have x is equal to, and negative 6 plus 5 gives me negative 1. So let's make sure that we've done that correctly by doing the left side, right side check. So the left side of my equal equation is 3x minus 5, and the right side of my equation is 2x minus 6. The value that I got for x is negative 1, so I'm going to substitute in negative 1 where I see my x's. I'm going to first do the left-hand side, and then I'm going to do the right-hand side. So 3 times negative 1 gives me negative 3, take away 5, and negative 3 take away 5 is negative 8. So ideally, the right-hand side should give us the same answer when I substitute in negative 1 for my x. So 2 minus 1, so times minus 1, minus 6. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, take away 6, and negative 2 take away 6 is negative 8. So look at that. Our left side equals our right side. Therefore, x equals negative 1. Let's go through a couple more examples to make sure that we have this. Example number 2, 10x plus 5 equals 5x. So now I want to, same thing, want to move all of my variables, terms with the variables, to one side, and all of my constants, in this case my positive 5, to the other side. So I'm going to start by moving my x So right now it's a positive x, or 5x. So when I bring it across the equal sign, I have to do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. So I have 10x take away 5x plus 5 is equal to 5x take away 5x. So 10x take away 5x is 5x plus 5. And 5x take away 5x is 0. So I'm left with 0 on the right-hand side. I need to keep my 0 here because otherwise it's no longer an equation if I don't write anything else there. So now I want to move my positive 5. So right now I'm adding it to 5x. So the opposite of adding is subtracting. So I'm going to subtract my 5 from both sides. So 5x plus 5 take away 5 is equal to 0 take away 5. So I have 5x. The plus 5 subtract 5 gives me 0, so that's gone. 0 take away 5 is negative 5. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to eliminate or isolate my x still. So right now I have a 5 times an x. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I'm going to have 5x divided by 5 is equal to negative 5 divided by 5. And 5 divided by 5 gives me 1. So I'm left with x on this side. And 5 divided by negative 5 divided by 5 gives me negative 1. So let's verify this to make sure that it's correct by doing the left side, right side check. The left side of my equation is 10x plus 5. The right side is 5x. The value that I got for x was negative 1. So 10 times negative 1 plus 5. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10 plus 5. And negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. So let's check out our right side. 5 times negative 1. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Look at that. The left side equals the right side. Therefore, x equals negative 1. Let's do one more example. Example number 3, instead of x's this time I have f's. So it doesn't matter what letter your variable is, as long as you have a variable for an equation. So I have 5f equals 3f plus 14. So I'm going to move all of my f's to the left-hand side. So right now it's being added to the right-hand side. So when I bring it over, I'm going to subtract. So I have 5f take away 3f on the left-hand side equals 3f take away 3f, because whatever I do to one side, I do to the other, plus 14. 5f take away 3f is 2f. 3f, and that's equals. 3f take away 3f is 0. So I'm just left with 14 on the right-hand side. The 2 times the f. So when I bring my 2 over to the other side, I'm doing the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I have 2f divided by 2, and I have to divide by 2 on the right-hand side as well. So 14 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I'm left with f on the right-hand side, or left-hand side, sorry. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So one more left side, right side check. The left-hand side of my equation is 5f. The right hand is 3f plus 14. The value that I got for f was 7. So 5 times 7 on the left-hand side, and 5 times 7 is 35. 3 times 7 plus 14 on the right-hand side. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 14 is 35. So the left side equals the right side, therefore F equals 7.